Today, I'm making rosolli, or the other name is silli salatti. But in my family, we always called it silly salad. Well, my husband and kids did. Actually, at home, we never called it rosolli. I never knew that till I was a little bit older. And silli salatti basically is, excuse me, silli salatti is herring salad. Silli is herring, and salad is salatti. And Finnish people eat a lot of herring. I was never a huge herring fan or seafood fan, or actually even a meat fan when I was growing up. But in Finland, they eat a lot of herring and other seafood. But this salad is traditionally, well, at home, we always had it at Christmas time. And if you Google or look up any kind of Nordic or Scandinavian, especially Swedish and Finnish Christmas dinners, you will always see this rosolli or silli salatti on the table. And it is a simple salad that's made with just a few ingredients. I think I counted 7. Because I'm plant-based now and my family did not like the herring in the salad, I've left it out and it's delicious. I have made it in the summertime and it's really good, but it's a traditional Christmas Eve dinner and Christmas Day salad that I can't do without during the holidays. So the ingredients actually in this are just potatoes, carrots, pickles, onion, and the beets, which I'm not going to pick up right here, but I am using these beets. And the newest addition, a lot of people have used apple in their silli salatti. I never did, and my mom didn't do that either, but my Finnish uncle told me to try that, and I have, and ever since then I've added apple. I don't know if it matters. I tend to go for the Granny Smith, but he didn't specify what kind of apple, so I've just gone with this one. And because you're using, usually my mom would use white onions, I would look for the sweetest onions that you can find. So this is a sweet onion. It's a big one. I'm not going to use all of this right now. So I see there's a few people actually here watching me, which is even more nerve-wracking because I've never done this. Let's see. Where the heck is the chat? Anyways, you can say hi to me here. I've got the chat open. If I look over there, it's because I'm trying to see my monitor. So the one thing that you can do ahead of time, which I did last night, is I boiled my potatoes in some salt water the night before, just so that they're soft enough for a knife or fork to go through. I've always used whatever potatoes I have. Usually I have russet potatoes, those brown skinned potatoes that you can use for baked potatoes. Today I had a bag of the yellow skinned, or we call them here Yukon potatoes, whatever yellow skinned. It seems to work fine, but I boil them with the skin on. Then I peel all the skin off, and I think it would be better. I think it works out better that way, so it doesn't get all mushy and you don't happen to all of a sudden overcook the potatoes and end up with just nothing that's usable. I steamed the carrots last night so they're cool, and I did peel these ones, and just so that they're tender to the fork. And pickles. My favorite type of pickles are these Bubby's pickles. These you have to look in the refrigerated section. And something I learned as an adult, I didn't know, but fermented foods are good for you. But the pickles that you find on the shelf aren't fermented. So they are pickled in vinegar and sugar and spices and things like that. But if you go to get some of these ones in the refrigerated aisle, they're actually fermented and they taste really good. I like them. They're called Bubbies, and they do other things too, like sauerkraut and a relish, which I like. You can roast your own beets and then dice them up. I haven't done that. I always buy jars of pickled beets, whole beets, and then I cut them up. I like this because the pickled beets add the tang and kind kind of a different flavor along with the pickles to the salad. So I don't add any dressings. And I'll show you that at the very end. Some of the options for dressings that people use, which I don't usually. But anyway, any brand of pickled baby beets or beets, or roast your own, but you're not going to have that same tanginess that you would have from pickled beets. So basically, I've already started peeling some of these potatoes, and usually the skin comes off pretty easy when you're going out after you've boiled them. Usually it just pulls right off, but these ones for some reason are a little bit sticky. And this is actually very similar to a potato salad because it's heavy on the potatoes and then the beets and the carrots. The only things you're not putting in there are like celery and things like that. So it's like, I think of it like a potato salad with beets. And I love anything with potatoes. And I've really become a fan of beets. Even though I've always liked beet dishes, I never really liked them just on their own to be roasted, but now I do that too. So the only other thing I need to peel is I'm going to peel this apple, and I think you might be good just using the skin of an apple, but I usually peel it. And then it's just a matter of dicing things up and putting it all together. But I don't know. It's like, that nostalgia. Even just steaming the carrots last night brought back memories of Christmas. It's just the smells, or smell is so powerful, trigger for memories. And when I was steaming those carrots last night, right away, to me, it feels like Christmas. I guess I do steam carrots other times of the year, but I don't know, something about it. The potatoes boiling, simmering on the stove, and the carrots steaming brings back memories of Christmas for me. How about you? Do you have anything that's happened to you that, has really brought back memories because you've smelled something? One time, my oldest son, we lived somewhere else, and he was the first, obviously, because he's the oldest, and then he started playing hockey, and there was an arena close to where we lived where he would go early mornings. He was just a little guy, maybe 5 years old, 6 at the most when he started. And I don't know, I never thought a hockey arena would have a smell, but anyways, decades later, I went there and walked in, and right away it brought back memories of me being in that arena, 30 years before that, or 25 years before that, and with him and sitting there watching the little guys practice. So memory is huge. Anyways, so now I'm going to try to tilt this webcam so you can actually see a little bit of what I'm doing. So bear with me here, because this is the other thing. All this technology, I had to buy a webcam because I wanted one that kind of moves around. Trying to get that thing set up has been a real headache, but I'm hoping it will work. The other thing I would suggest is, if you're going to do anything with beets, I always have a red tea towel here because it's going to stain. And I'm going to chop them up last. And I'll just do these now. So let me try to get this webcam to show you down here. Nope, not yet. Let me try to get it a bit better. Oh, here we go. No. What's it doing? Okay, maybe I have to move this. Normal. Okay, now I'm going to do this. Okay, I think you can see some of what I've got here on the table. Good. Now it's just a matter of cutting up your potatoes and all the ingredients into I've never been really picky, but you want to kind of have the same size, so you're not getting these huge chunks. But you don't have to get your measuring tape out. That's what I like about this. This was something I could make as a when I was newly out of the house and on my own, this was one thing I could make without any difficulty that brought back memories of home. I don't know about you, but we had a set menu, and we always had Christmas on Christmas Eve. And it included ham, mashed potatoes. I have a hard time remembering if there was a gravy involved. I don't think there was, but we had this Finnish mustard with the ham. We had turnip casserole or rutabaga casserole, which is called lanttulaatikko. We had porkkanalaatikko, which is a carrot casserole. And what else did we have? The silli salatti, as we called it. And we had, what else? I think that might have been it, but we also had things like riisipuro, which is rice pudding, and we had riisipuro with kisseli. Kisseli was usually we did it with plums or prunes. It's like a dried fruit soup, a cold soup that you would put over the rice pudding. And it was actually really good. And we had all kinds of traditional baking that we only did at Christmas time. Well, for sure, we always had pulla, but we also had the korvapuusti. Is that right? They are what you would liken to cinnamon rolls, but they're rolled up and they just have cinnamon, kind of a butter mixture in the middle, and they're delicious. And they're made with the same pulla recipe dough. So it's got that cardamom pulla and then the cinnamon inside. And that was always at Christmas time. We had joulutortut. They are my favorite, but they are so finicky to make because they're pastry and they're shaped like a star usually. You can do the other shapes. Shaped like a star, and they had a prune filling in the middle, or you could use other fillings in the middle. Oh my gosh, those were so delicious. What else? Gingerbread cookies. We had those, and we made them ourselves. I buy mine from, you can see over there, from IKEA. Because one thing I'm not good at is anything that is a lot of rolling out and very finicky and picky like that. That's why I prefer cooking, like making soups and just cooking things, because you don't have to be so particular. When you do things like that, you have to roll out the dough. You have to, we used to use cookie cutters to cut out the shapes. That's just a lot of work. And I get tired and I get frustrated after a while. And that's why making the pulla too and the korvapuusti, the cinnamon buns, pulla is so easy now to make for me. But geez, having to roll out that dough for the cinnamon buns, the korvapuusti, is another one that I don't do regularly because it's not as easy. It's a bit more work. So I guess maybe I'm lazy. Also, regarding this recipe, my mom never had measurements that she went by. It was just, sometimes you think you're just making so much, and I actually thought this is not going to be enough. And now I can see the bowl growing there like crazy. So it always ends up being a lot, no matter how little I want to make. But this will get eaten up as a delicious part of our, dinners or lunches. Okay, now the pickles, then the onion, and then the beets, and that's it. I don't know why. In Finland, they were quite a poor country. They have harsh weather, growing conditions. So the meals over there were not extravagant. When you compare something like French diet or French Christmas, I don't know. Ours was so basic. And I mean basic as in simple foods, not these extravagant fancy things, but simple as in just home cooked, easy, and using the ingredients that they had, because root vegetables that would have been, easier to have than, fancy other kinds of ingredients that you're just not going to be able to grow or have to import. And they didn't do that. So you used what you had, and they came up with these really delicious foods with just the simplest of ingredients. I don't know. It just, when I think about it now, it's very heartwarming for me. Okay, I'm just going to quickly wipe my hands and do the onion, and then we'll just do the beets, and I'll go from there. This is a big onion, so like I said, I'm just going to use part of it. You have to be so careful with onion. Ugh, especially when they got this thick skin on here. Do you have any memories of specific foods that you grew up eating that are maybe traditional to whatever culture you're from? Like, my husband's of German ancestry. I mean, he was born here, so were his parents, but I don't really, when we used to go to his mom's house for dinner, I don't really remember anything specific that was reminded me, or that was specifically saying it was like a German dish. But, so I'm just curious if you have anything that you, and don't do as I do with my onion cutting. My husband would get mad at me about how I cut my onions. I'm not, I try to be careful, but I've had many accidents with a knife. With onions, I do try to get them quite small, and I think this is all I will put in. So it's a quarter of that large sweet onion. When I used to add herring to a salad, they had a very specific herring that my mom would always look for here in Canada. And I just used to end up finding something from IKEA, to be honest, at the time, because that's the only place I could really find anything. Now I think there's more things available, but you have to really cut the herring tiny. I had somebody comment on one of my videos, and she shared a recipe, of, I think he's a French chef. He's a YouTube, he has videos on YouTube, and he has a recipe for vegan anchovies, which is not herring, but I will have that in the description at the bottom. So if anybody's interested, it would certainly add that fishy bit to the salad. Actually, I want to try it because I want to use it for pasta puttanesca. Let's see if I can just put this thing back up to my face here for a sec. So the beets, I drained them, and now we're going to cut those up. But yes, so I'm really interested in trying to make this vegan anchovies, because you can add it on a pizza. And the pasta puttanesca, which I'm probably not saying right, I love that pasta. It's such a simple one, but it has capers and black olives, and oh my gosh, my mouth is watering. I love pasta. So that's something that you could definitely try, like a vegan anchovy on. All right, so here, now this is the messy bit. I just use my hands. I have no problem getting the beets juice off my hands, but now let's go back to this. Try to let you see what I'm doing. Bye. There we go. I haven't had nobody say hi here in the chat, so I don't even know if that. Oh, there is. Hi, Street of Katara. I don't know how to work this. Okay, chat. Hello. Hey, how's that? All right, let's go back to this beet salad. So here we go. These are baby beets. My gosh, they're tiny. But if you had bigger beets, you just dice them up. And this is a little bit finicky again, annoying, but just get them in there. The other thing, just salt and pepper. And when I was mentioning that some people put a dressing, they can use, I believe my mom would sometimes use whipping cream. She'd have whipped cream and she'd add a bit of the beet juice to the whipping cream. And that would be on the side, so you could add a dollop of that on your salad if you wanted it. When I was looking online at how other people make this, they would actually use sour cream or like for instance, a vegan yogurt, Greek yogurt. They'd add some of the beet juice into the yogurt or the sour cream, and then they would mix it right into the salad. I like the salad without any of that, so if I do that, I would definitely have it on the side so somebody could add it on top if they wanted to and stir it in. But I personally don't think it needs any of that. Let's see. It goes much quicker when you have bigger beets and you just slice them up and you got a few big beets and it's done. These little guys are just, oh, I've dropped two things now. A piece of onion and a beet, but that's okay. I'll clean it up afterwards. I have some notes here. One of the things I like doing is cooking a lot of the traditional foods, whether it's for a holiday meal or anything else. I have learned to make them plant-based. So for instance, mashed potatoes and gravy, super easy to do. Nobody really notices. It tastes really good. The lantulaatikko, the Finnish rutabaga casserole, I veganized that. Porkkanalaatikko, the carrot casserole, and rice pudding, also plant-based. I've made meatballs, like for instance, Swedish meatballs. And in Finland, we have meatballs and gravy and little new potatoes. I have made those plant-based. Anything basically that we used to eat, I have tried in a plant-based version and, been pretty successful at it. I don't remember anything that hasn't really turned out. Maybe just not something we like to eat anymore, but everything turns out. So if you're interested in just eating more plants for the fiber, then, it's very doable. For instance, like beets, I've always heard beets are really good for high blood pressure, and it's true. They're full of fiber, and beets are part of the chard and spinach family. With the beets, you can eat the beet root, which this is, and you can eat the greens. I personally have, maybe in a restaurant, I don't think I've ever cooked the beet greens. And lately, the farm market, the Langley farm market where I shop, they have just already cut off the beet greens, and I don't know why, so there's no greens, but I would like to try that soon. All right, let me wash my hands again. I'll put this away and I'll show you the final touches. right. Actually, I didn't get very messy at all today. So this is the end of the road for the salad. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. And you can adjust this, of course, to taste. And give it a stir. Sometimes I've seen them just put this on the table with pretty rows of red, orange, white, and green. But I tend to mix it up, and I find that after about a day, it tastes even better. Now, the color obviously will depend on the quantity of each of the ingredients you put in. Sometimes mine is a lot redder than other times. And also it will get more red as it sits for a while. You could actually add just a little bit of the beet juice in here, but silly me, when I drained the beets, I forgot to save some of the beet juice, and that's what ended up happening. So I'm going to show you. So I use a couple of different plant-based yogurts. This one is a really good one. It's coconut yogurt. It's thick. It's nice. Tofuti, I think probably a lot of people know. I'm going to make, I managed to squeeze a little bit of beet juice out of the colander as I was doing that. But let me show you what it basically would look like with a little bit of sour cream in here. And then you can use this on the side. I mean, it does taste good. It adds a more, a huge richness to it that you wouldn't otherwise have. Well, isn't this complicated? Okay. And it looks pretty, but let me get a little bowl and I'll taste it for you and let you know how it is. Okay, I've got the tiniest little bowl. I want to make sure I have a bit of everything in there, especially the beets. Okay, let's get this guy up to my... All right, let's see if it's gonna zoom in on me again. There it goes. Shows you everything. All right, I'll put a dollop of the sour cream on here because why not? Doesn't that look pretty? But the most important thing is if it tastes good. And this is silly because I already know it tastes delicious. This is really good. It's going to taste even better tomorrow. But thank you for joining me. I'm going to, I'll write out the recipe and it'll be in the description. That anchovy, vegan anchovy recipe, the link to the YouTube channel and the video, I'll put it in the description. I also have my website. Until the end of the year, everything in my little shop on there, which is stuff my daughter has illustrated for me, is free shipping. So there's a code in the description so that you can use that and get free shipping anywhere to get if you're interested in anything. But let me know if you try this recipe and what you think about it. And I hope you have a great holiday, and I will see you in a couple of weeks, okay? Thank you for joining me on my first ever live. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye. And now I gotta